Time now for a look through the international newspapers with Diptyka Laurent. Diptyka, we're going to start with reactions to one of our top stories there, the political situation in Venezuela.
That's right. 35-year-old Juan Guaido has now declared himself interim president. El Nacional is reporting that on its front page. That's a Venezuelan daily. The paper explaining that he invoked Article 233 that allows the president to be replaced by someone temporary as long as the army supports that bid until elections are organized. That's from Últimas Noticias, that also another Venezuelan daily. Similar headline from El Clarín, which notes that Nicolás Maduro has also cut ties with the U.S. after it recognized Juan Guaido as the new leader of Venezuela.
Of course, making the headlines, of course, in Venezuela, but in newspapers across the world.
A lot of analysis as well, particularly the American press. Let's start, though, with this cartoon from the Huffington Post, wondering if the White House's support for Guaido is just a strategy. Donald Trump here is the puppet master, if you like, pulling on the strings of Venezuela. Indeed, that U.S.-Venezuela relationship dates back. The editors of the conservative Wall Street Journal say the opposition-led protests have more democratic legitimacy than Nicolás Maduro himself, who they say stole last year's election. For the Journal, I quote, "This revolt is made in Venezuela, but after 2 decades of socialist failure and corruption."
Meanwhile, the US recognition, I imagine, is not without its consequences.
Well, the Washington Post is looking at what this concretely means for that diplomatic relationship between the US and Venezuela. What happens, for instance, to the Venezuelan diplomats who are already in the US? They no longer represent the Maduro government. Also, could the US seize Venezuelan assets in the country and turn them over to Guaido's forces? That recognition of Guaido as the new president could also embolden Maduro to arrest him. So there's a lot of options up there, a lot of questions to be answered.
Let's move on now. And in India, the granddaughter of the country's first female prime minister has entered politics just months before national elections there.
That's right. Her name is Priyanka Vadra. She's a daughter of Sonia Gandhi, the granddaughter of Indira Gandhi, and now she's been appointed General Secretary of the Congress Party. That's a party that her family runs. In fact, it's her brother, Rahul Gandhi, who has appointed her. You see the siblings on the front page of The Hindu there, a move that the paper calls a major party reshuffle. DNA, that's another Indian daily, they call it Dynasty Season 5.2. Priyanka Vadra takes the plunge into politics, and it comes at an opportune time. We're months away from the next national elections. She's described as a gifted speaker with charisma akin to her grandmother, so could she shake things up for the party? Her appointment means that she'll preside over Uttar Pradesh. That's India's most populous state, and it's basically the place where elections are won and lost. That's what the Economic Times tells us.
So lots of hope then on her shoulders that she will reinvigorate her party's electoral campaign.
That's right, but her appointment is a risky gamble for a party that's often accused of nepotism. That's what the New Indian Express is saying. The Priyanka card, nonetheless, could be Rahul Gandhi's best shot to show that he's in control of the party and to show also that he's willing to use whatever ammunition he has. For the Deccan Chronicles cartoonist, it's also an opportunity for Priyanka Vadra to infuse new life into the Gandhi political dynasty and redraw her fate, the cartoonist says, not just rely on the family's reputation.
Okay, changing topics now, Diptyka, and if for anybody thinking of heading on holidays, you found a piece that looks at the different names given to tourists.
That's right. They're not always very polite names. As over-tourism grows, so too does locals' hostility towards the busloads of selfie-clutching, socks and sandals-wearing people sunbaking on beaches like their rotisserie chicken. Anyhow, did you know in Spain, for instance, they call them guiri, literally meaning standing out like a sore thumb? In France, at least in the city of Nice, they call them ces cons de touristes, or these tourist idiots, or bronzés idiots, these idiots who are suntanning. In the Czech Republic, it's much easier. They're called Russians. And even the Brits, who admittedly might be on the receiving end of some of these names, have their own name for tourists, grockle, which actually means annoying visitor.
But I have to pay more attention now when I'm on holidays. Finally, Diptyka, Japan does love its mascots, but one in particular has been terrorizing a city in the south.
That's right. Actually, on that topic of tourism, Japan appointed this real-life otter called Chitan as tourism ambassador. And then what happened was a mascot based on the otter with the same name and created by a production company began wreaking havoc. It's been filmed swinging a power tool around its head, pole dancing, as you see here, also tipping a car over and even threatening to visit locals' homes with a baseball bat. To bring calm now, sadly and rather unfairly, the actual mascot, the real-life one, has been fired by the city.
How is that the solution to the fake mascot? Which I'm actually not seeing Otter in, but there you go. Time for a quick break now, but we'll be back in just a few minutes with our focus report. It takes us to Mauritania, where tourism is once again back on the rise. Find out why after the break.